Welcome if you joined us in the beginning of that or middle of that. All right, so some objectives for today. Hopefully some self-care through building communication skills, mindfulness tools. Some of what I just did are some tiny, small things that hopefully you could take with you into your own daily life. Something that you could do to support yourself. Often when you increase your exhale, in particular that last one, you will settle the nervous system. So even if your mind is racing and you're feeling really agitated or frustrated, often increasing that exhale will calm and soothe enough for you to find that next move. So I hope to bring some relationship building skills, tips for active listening, empathy versus sympathy, and reflecting and responding in conversations. We've got tons of things we're hoping for. And this is a quote I love. I'm going to give you a moment to read that by Resmaa Menakem. It's the author of My Grandmother's Hands. The bit I love the most about this is the last bit around it's important to reach out. He is a licensed social worker. It's important to reach out to others for this type of support. It's just as important to allow others to reach out to you for it. So just some inspiration. And I love how he's actually pointing to the things that we don't want to do, but we're going to point to a whole bunch of stuff that we hope that we learn and develop as skills to communicate better with each other. All right, so starting with active listening, and I'm moving you all around because my little boxes are like constantly in my way here. So I can't see you very well. Please drop in the chat if there's anything, and Ria will stop me if there's anything that you need. So practicing active listening, one of the things that really I wanted to highlight for you, hold on one second. Reasons why we want to practice active listening. Some of what I realized when I was younger and had a young family and was trying to work and raise children was that relationships were not as strong as they could have been. And what I've learned and practiced is that active listening really supports increasing that trust in relationships. It slows down the conversation enough that we can build the relationship and the trust that's needed. It helps to build understanding and connection, and healthy relationships increase a sense of our well-being. And we've all really probably felt that lack of being together in the last 2 years of COVID, and how that's really been more challenging to secure those relationships and keep those relationships, really the connection there. I don't know about you, but I've seen my parents less, in fact, not at all. And I'm really eager to get back with people and to start building and using those skills. And I'm going to probably need to practice a little bit to ease myself back into it. There's definitely been a lack of practice in that area for these last 2 years. Some reasons why it might be really challenging. Are you resourced? Are you tired? I know sleep is like essential. Dehydration, if you're not taking in enough water, enough hydration is so important. I have a mentor and teacher that I dearly love, and she believes that everything can be fixed by just being hydrated. So that just cracks me up, and I sort of feel like that might be true. And do you need exercise? Are you hungry? Do you need to go outside? These things are really important for us to not forget that we have needs, and that we need to really ask ourselves, do I have time to give this person right now that wants to talk to me? Am I having something going on in my own life? Am I frustrated? Am I overwhelmed? Do I need to go get support for myself? So really actually asking those questions and being careful about how much we give is important. So I just want to lead with that, as those are really important reasons to look at before we jump into just giving to other folks. So some tips for success in active listening. So I find that giving your full attention. So if I pick up my phone when somebody really wants to talk to me, that's sending language, body language that I'm not really all the way here. Maybe I'm also trying to send an email. Maybe I'm also, trying to multitask, and that actually doesn't support active listening. So I want to commit. I want to bring my full attention. I may even want to turn my full body to them and actually be in front of them so that I'm able to make eye contact. Become aware of my body language, become aware of your body language, so that there's a giving and a receiving. I'm actually able to see what's happening for you. I want to practice often and when there's no conflict. At the worst times that I realized in my experience with my family and friends, the worst time for me to think about trying to practice was when I was already upset, when I was already in a conflict with someone. The best time was when someone was coming to me and I was resourced. I was able to sit and say, tell me more. Let me know what's going on. Yeah, I want to practice this with you. And even I'm not even making that clear to them. I'm just really acknowledging I'm with someone, I'm resourced, and I'd love to know what's going on for you. And I want to hear, how you are. Ask questions. If you are in a conversation with someone and you're practicing active listening, one of the best things you can do is just ask questions. Ask if there's more. Ask if there's something they can share. Is there more about how you're doing? Is there more about, and then list what you heard them talk about. Is there anything else you want to share with me? Just simple questions really activates their feelings of you listening to them and you paying attention to them. It really makes a difference in how you feel heard. Reflect what you heard. So we'll talk a little bit more about reflection and responding. So reflecting first instead of responding. Often my partner and I, or the young people in my life that I used to have a lot in my life and now are grown-ups, often if I am wanting to fix or change them, I find myself wanting to respond much more quickly than just reflect what I heard, just hear them. So we'll get into that a little bit more here. So what I'd love to share is this short video of Brene Brown. I'm sure many of you have heard of her, and this is a short video on empathy and sympathy. So it touches a little bit on active listening and the skill building of empathy. And basically, it also touches on some more of what we're going to break into. So first, I'm going to change my headphones. And I'll run this and make sure. And Ria, would you give me a thumbs up if you can hear this?
We can hear on our end.
Okay. I'm not able to make this larger, which I would love to do, but can you see it?
Yes, we can see and we can hear on our end.
All right, let's roll it.
So what is empathy and why is it very different than sympathy? Empathy fuels connection. Sympathy drives disconnection. Empathy, it's very interesting. Teresa Wiseman is a nursing scholar who studied professions, very diverse professions where empathy is relevant, and came up with 4 qualities of empathy. Perspective taking, the ability to take the perspective of another person or recognize their perspective as their truth. Staying out of judgment, not easy when you enjoy it as much as most of us do. Recognizing emotion in other people and then communicating that. Empathy is feeling with people. And to me, I always think of empathy as this kind of sacred space when someone's kind of in a deep hole and they shout out from the bottom and they say, I'm stuck, it's dark, I'm overwhelmed. And then we look and we say, hey, I'm down. I know what it's like down here and you're not alone. Sympathy is, ooh, it's bad, no, you want a sandwich? Empathy is a choice, and it's a vulnerable choice, because in order to connect with you, I have to connect with something in myself that knows that feeling. Rarely, if ever, does an empathic response begin with at least. I had it, yeah. We do it all the time, because you know what? Someone just shared something with us that's incredibly painful, and we're trying to silver lining it. I don't think that's a verb, but I'm using it as one. We're trying to put the silver lining around it. So I had a miscarriage. At least you know you can get pregnant. I think my marriage is falling apart. At least you have a marriage. John's getting kicked out of school. At least Sarah is an A student. But one of the things we do sometimes in the face of very difficult conversations is we try to make things better. If I share something with you that's very difficult, I'd rather you say, I don't even know what to say right now. I'm just so glad you told me. Because the truth is, rarely can a response make something better. What makes something better is connection.
Okay, I'm going to transfer the speakers back.
Excellent. And I saw, thank you, I'm back. Thank you so much. I just love that for so many reasons, but one of the things is it makes me smile, because I think it resonates with some of my own cultural training or my own kind of ways I used to connect with folks or thought I was connecting with people. So, all right. And I saw a really great question in the chat about what is resourcing. So when I was talking about resourcing, I mean, how is your cup filled up? Are you rested? Have you eaten? Have you taken care of your basic needs? Have you put your oxygen mask on first before you help the person next to you? Because let's face it,
There's no other way. We're not going to have the resources we need to continue to serve and to continue to do the work we want to do in the world. So when I talk about resourcing, I mean, have you thought about you? And have you really prioritized taking care of you? All right, so reflection and reflecting for connecting. So reflecting, and we're going to jump into a demonstration here pretty soon, and then small groups activities. So reflecting for connection, reflecting keeps the focus on the speaker. So reflecting is a way that I am really, and you'll see this in a moment when I work with Ria, reflecting is a way of letting you know that I'm actually listening, because I'm able to tell you what I heard. I'm able to actually maybe even share what I'm hearing as feelings, or maybe I'm just telling you exactly what I heard. Either way, that gives a signal that I'm listening. It's an expression of empathy, like Brene Brown was saying, and it's just actually saying, wow, that sounds really hard, or thank you for sharing that. And it increases the likelihood the person feels valued and heard. So it's a reason. These are all really important reasons for why you might go to reflecting versus just responding. It creates an opportunity for people to feel heard. It leads to self-awareness and self-connection and creative problem solving. Often when I'm in a conversation with someone and I'm consciously reflecting and really listening, it often leads to other folks finding their way through whatever problem it was that they had. Really, all they needed was someone to hear them, someone to listen them into their own solution. So I love that. Some examples might be, I hear that you're excited about this opportunity to learn and grow. So paraphrasing what you hear, I heard you share how difficult this is and how frustrated you are. Thank you for sharing how challenging your job has been. So really pulling out some of the bits of that you've heard, and also adding any feelings or any emotion that you heard. acknowledging that. So often, and what we sometimes saw in Brene's short video was something that we might call, well, and unknowingly takes the focus off the speaker. So when they said something like, "Oh, well, at least you have a partner or a spouse, or at least you," it takes the conversation back off of the person that was sharing and onto the person that, they're trying to share a story about how maybe they don't have children or they don't have a partner. So it also might be that those things that you saw in that video for me point to what we call empathy blockers. So things that look like advice giving, storytelling. So telling my story instead of listening to yours, interrupting, or making judgments. So a lot of those things are just habits that's how we were trained to communicate, and we can fall into them pretty easily. We all do. So it's a practice. It's something we need to really practice. So and also sometimes we respond the way we do because we're confused and reactive because we don't know what to say. And maybe we feel uncomfortable. So maybe whatever is being shared with us creates a little bit of discomfort and we're not exactly sure what to say. So reflecting versus responding really actually helps us to stay with the person and actually be with that discomfort, but not have to fix it. So it's actually a much better place to be. Some of the examples of how we might be reactive in addition to what you saw on Brene's video is, wow, I know how you feel. That happened to me last week. You really ought to just tell them off, maybe even quit. So trying to solve a problem for someone or jumping on the bandwagon. You think that's bad, you ought to hear, and then telling your own story. So I'll pause there. Any reflection at all, anything else anything you can think of that also might be happening for you when you are in conversations and it gets uncomfortable? What else might you?
I see in the chat here, Tina shared one thing she's still working on is interrupting versus listening, because she wants to fix the situation and she's not intending to be rude, but it can come across that way. So kind of a little bit what you talked about.
Yeah, 100%. I know it's like I'm uncomfortable and I don't know what to do with that. So it's easier to try and like, okay, I'll solve it for you. Can I tell you this and that? I find that especially with my adult children that I'm still getting in their life. I'm still trying to get in there and fix it for them. And it's that I'm uncomfortable with their struggle. So how can I just be uncomfortable with that struggle and it just acknowledge that in me and not jump into fixing it for them. Thank you. So responding can also it's important. So I'm not just going to reflect and then we'll do it again, we'll do a demo here in a moment. I'm not just focused on only reflecting when it feels appropriate. Responding is an important piece. So it might look like, would you like support when I feel like they've shared with me what it is that they need to share? How can I help? I hear how much you enjoy your class. Is there anything you need from me? And or just acknowledging how much you appreciate that someone shared something with you. And that is also a response that can connect you to this person and help build trust and help build those really trusting relationships that says, I know I can come to you and share something with you and you won't deflect me. You won't jump in and try and fix me. It's a really good feeling to have those people in your life. All right. So our hope for you is that notice how you feel as you observe. Ria and I are going to have a dialogue here just for a moment, and I'm going to respond to her rather than what I might typically do and kind of my conditioning might want me to do is I'm going to respond to her in a way that I'm reflecting what I hear, and just notice how it feels for you to observe that conversation. And Ria, I am ready.
Okay. And feel free to comment in the chat as well about what you're experiencing.
Yeah.
So Janine, I'm so tired. I didn't sleep well. And my son, he's getting in trouble at school and I feel really overwhelmed and I don't feel like myself, but I need help.
Wow, I hear it. You're having a really hard day today, it sounds like. You're
Yeah,
tired and overwhelmed.
really tired.
Mm. It sounds like your son's also struggling.
Yeah, it's just every day it's something different, and I'm not sleeping well, and I just don't feel like myself half the time.
Wow. So it's probably hard to be at work right now or even concentrate.
Yeah, my focus is off, and I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it. I don't feel good.
Hmm. Wow, sounds like you need some support. Is there anything I could do to help?
Thank you for offering and asking. I appreciate you listening. I appreciate you, I feel so bad. I'm just complaining and whining, but no, there's nothing.
Yeah, I hear that you're a bit worried about even sharing this with me.
Yeah, I don't want to whine and complain. I know you have your own problems.
Hmm. Well, I really appreciate you sharing it, and I'm open to you sharing anytime that you've got something going on. So thank you for sharing.
That means a lot. Thank you for just listening. Sometimes you just want to vent and get it out. And I just appreciate you being open to listen because I know you're busy.
Yeah, I hear you. I really appreciate that too. So thanks for being that person for me too. Thank you.
Of course, anytime.
Excellent. So how was that for you? Anything in the chat? Maybe something's already there. I'm not looking at it. So
We've got
how
some
did that
things in the
feel?
chat.
Actually, Rhea, how did that feel for you? I mean, I know we're kind of role playing and
Yeah.
we didn't even practice this, but
Yeah.
how did it feel for you?
I think it felt nice to have you, repeat back what you heard me say and really take pauses in the conversation. Your first
Mhm.
instinct wasn't to say, well, if you're tired, you should probably go to bed earlier. Or if you're, if your son's overwhelmed, maybe you need to do this or that. It gave me room to just vent without feeling judged by you. And also I didn't feel rushed in the conversation. So it was nice to be able to just get what I need to say out. And those pauses helped me understand that, okay, what I needed to really do was vent. I may not have needed a solution. I just needed a listening ear. So
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing that. It
I see
is
it.
sometimes all we need. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
the chat, and you all can unmute yourselves as well. But in the chat, we're getting a lot of responses. A lot of people saying it would be really hard not to give advice in those moments.
Mm.
That comment popped up several times that it would just be really difficult not to want to give advice and not to interrupt.
Yeah. And don't even think that it didn't occur to me to say, wow, have you tried counseling or
Yeah.
or get to bed earlier? How about you want to exercise more? I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
it's so funny how those things are right there. And I'm not sure that's what you needed.
Right.
And it would not have felt as like you trusted me and that our relationship could grow from a place of just listening, not trying to fix you.
Yes.
Because tomorrow might actually be very different and you might not change a single thing.
Mhm.
So beautiful. I'm glad you guys are all noticing those things. It's so important. I love that question. I think I want to say 100%. Yeah. I want to say that if someone wants something from me, I want them to ask for that because I don't want to assume that it is what they need. And I could ask the question, and like I did with you, is there anything I could support you with? Instead of like trying to give you advice, I'm actually just saying, what is it that you think you need? What is it that you want? Because whatever my idea is, may not be the thing you need. So I'm just saying, asking and pausing and giving you time to reflect on what it is that you think needs to happen. And you said, no, I'm just so glad that you listened to me. And that's what I needed. Boom. So, and I'm there if you needed something different, that I've offered support and that maybe you come back to me another time and say, hey, I do think I need some help. So it really keeps the door open instead of kind of what I call slamming the door on people. Like, I know more than you do. I know better than you do. I'm the one that you should come to for advice. I really want to resource you. I want you to know that you have the best answers for you. So I'd love to take a moment and just have you think of a time when you didn't feel heard or valued. So think of a scenario where you shared something and you felt like someone may have shut you down or maybe didn't listen in the way that you would have liked. And maybe write that down or just bring it to mind. It's not going to be a challenging small group activity. We're going to break into small groups just for a very short amount of time in pairs. So we welcome you to meet someone new, possibly take a moment, just introduce yourselves. And we're going to have one person share, much like what you saw Rhea did with me. So share for 2 to 3 minutes, share time when you didn't feel heard or valued, and just share what's up for you about that. And have the person, after the speaker's complete, ask the listener to reflect the essence of what they heard, or like I did, just reflect what you heard. And then after the reflection, both of you just share how that was for you. And then have switch roles and repeat.
Okay, great. I'm going to pause in the recording for a minute and send everyone to a breakout room.
Hang on one second, Rhea, before you send them. I'm going to just make sure people know that just introduce yourselves, take a moment to introduce yourselves, choosing who will speak first and who will listen. And we're going to really keep this time pretty short because we want to get back and have time. So we're going to keep it at 10 minutes, bring you back for a time for close, maybe even 8 minutes, actually, 4 minutes a person. So monitor your time, but I'll give you a halfway through notice. And then we'll bring you back and we'll see how it was for you. So we'll drop into the chat, actually. Rhea, I'm not sure if I can do that. I'll just try and copy. I'll stop sharing. And I'll copy into the chat these questions or the kind of the steps that we're asking you to take.
Okay.
And then we'll send you off. These will follow you into your rooms.
Thank you.
I know that was really quick. We'll wait just a moment for everyone else to join us. Thank you for coming back in. And that probably felt like no amount of time at all, but I hope that you were able to at least share a little bit, and would love to hear either unmute yourself and let us know how that was, or and I'll share my screen again, or drop in the chat. And I had a couple questions for you. And
I'll go first.
sure, please.
Mine, I felt like it was very great because she dealt with the same type of stuff that I in the same type of setting in school that I'm at. So it was very great. She listened to me, provided support, and gave me some actual real life tips that I can use with people inside my school now to just talk to. And if I'm ever getting stressed or need just some type of supportive ear to listen to. So I really appreciate it. My breakout room partner.
That's awesome.
Wow, that's great.
That is
Thank
really
you.
great.
Thanks for sharing that.
I love
Anybody else in the chat, or unmute yourself and let us know. Yeah, Frankie.
I enjoyed talking to Miss Jo. She helped me with some empathy, and I hope I said it to her too, because she has a lot to do. So that was really great.
Beautiful.
That's great. Miss Jo is awesome. I worked with Miss Jo for a long time.
That's beautiful. Thank you. We both, and I saw some things in the chat. We both talked about how we need to be better at active listening. Excellent. I love it. Well, I want to respect your time. Diane, yeah, I see you're unmuted.
I love speaking with Delrica, and we're in the same building. I never knew that. And it was great because when I reflected, she said, no, you didn't quite get it. And she re-explained. So that was great.
That's awesome. That's
awesome.
Perfect.
You met a new building buddy. That's good.
I love it. And that is a perfect response. If someone doesn't quite get it, it might also be that you didn't write like, oh, wait, it's more like this. It's like you get clearer when someone reflects what they heard you say. It's like, oh, wait a minute, it's actually like this. And so I love that. I love that there is that give and take in there. So thank you so much. Well, I want to respect your time and hand this back over to Ria, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen and we'll close together. Thank you for your attention and your thank all of you for showing up the way you did. Thank you so much.
Miss Janine, I gotta give you a reaction in the box. I'm so grateful for this presentation. It was really wonderful. I hope everyone enjoyed this experience, and thankfully we'll have it recorded, so you'll be able to view it later when we get it posted. And we hope to have Janine back for more sessions. I know we'll have her March 16th. So you'll get to, if you enjoy this content and really took something from it, you know, I think we did our job in this moment. I am really grateful for Janine, and I'm grateful for all of your participation today. I know it can be hard to share, and your transparency in the comments as well.